How is it that you should anticipate problems with a current campaign? Hi guys, my name is Deepak Shukla, founder at the Pearl Lemon Group. We're a business growth and development agency based in the UK, USA, as well as serving clients worldwide. And here today, in day number 53, we're just talking about anticipating client problems or problems with a client campaign and what you should do about it. But before we get into it, if you need some support with communications training, please do reach out to us. We can help with your internal comms as well as your comms with clients. And feel free to click the link in the description below to get access to 7 additional strategies that are not shared in this training. So look, fundamentally, you're going to have campaigns that have problems, okay? It happens. And the biggest thing that you can do to get ahead of the problems is to anticipate what the problems are. So there's a couple of things that I think you as a client relationship manager need to be cognizant of. And the typical things in terms of anticipating promises or anticipating problems rather is, and you're going to see why I was talking about promises now, is you need to understand, if we build this again, you need to understand what was promised versus what's being delivered. And now that's definitely one surefire thing that's going to be important. The next thing to consider that in the realms of what was promised versus what was delivered is billing dates. So basically, in light of the above, so fundamentally, the first thing to look at is what was promised versus what's being delivered, and that's a surefire way that any account manager will be familiar with. We promised XYZ by XYZ date. So far, we've delivered X. Client's asking where YZ is, and we don't know that we're going to deliver it anytime soon. So ultimately, what is promised versus what being delivered is important. Looking at billing dates in light of the above, and then just monitoring frequency of client communication when they go silent, or monitoring with. So basically, monitoring the frequency of client communication with your team is how often are your team in touch? Is there regular activity? Is there effort that your client can see? Where there isn't, then it's likely it could potentially present a problem where you, for example, onboard a client and then they paid a startup fee, and for 7 days they hear nothing from you. That's going to cause problems. That's definitely going to cause problems. So monitoring frequency of client communication with your team is important, and then just making sure you have those regular check-ins is going to help tons. So what was promised versus what's been delivered, billing dates in light of the above, because if you're short of the delivery and it's time to bill again, it's going to cause problems. Okay, and if you can see it coming up down the road or coming up down the line, again, you should be mindful and be able to figure that out ahead of the problem, and therefore start taking action to do something about it. So ultimately, they are the 3 ways of identifying or anticipating problems. And then also you could look at a client. So a client going radio silent could be a potentially bad thing. By radio silence, I mean you just don't hear from the client. They just seemingly fell off a cliff in terms of being available. So that would be a time at which you would call them to check in and just to find out how they are, what's going on, and understand the temperature, or the temperature in terms of happiness from the client, or the mood rather. So the client's feelings of the campaign are definitely going to be important. The next thing is to analyze the tone of emails and what's being said across all comms. So fundamentally, another way to anticipate problems is analyzing just the tone of emails to understand how someone writes, whether they're annoyed or what kind of person they are. Are they analytical? Are they analytical as well as critical? Are they happy and high level? So understanding the appointment type, if you will, for your client is definitely going to be something that the appointment type, understanding the mood and the tone of your client, exactly what they're saying, that's going to help, because this will be another good way to anticipate problems with clients. Anticipating this campaign with past ones is also going to be definitely something that will be useful. If you've got previous campaigns and now you're aware that this is going to potentially come up with this campaign, then definitely being mindful of that as well. So you should have comparative data, and being able to compare is really going to help. So across the board, I'd say that these 6 things are going to help you anticipate problems with a client campaign and put you in a position to be, of course, able to get ahead of it. But you should not be waiting to get an angry email from a client before you anticipate there being problems. You should be ahead of the game, and you should be working upon solving potential problems based upon what's already happening. So looking at what's being promised versus what's being delivered, looking at billing dates in light of the above, monitoring the frequency of the client communication, the client and team communication. If a client goes radio silent, analyzing the tone of their emails and what's being said across all communications platform, and just comparing this campaign with past ones, all of that will really powerfully allow you to anticipate problems with the current client campaign. So guys, please do subscribe if you're enjoying these videos, as well as comment with your thoughts and takeaways below, as well as hit that like button. Thank you so much.